Hello, this is Home Instruction Week 6 for writing personal narratives. Okay. This week, you will be selecting a topic of interest from the next page. You can use the planning space to organize your thoughts. If you have an amazing story to write that's a personal narrative and it does not fit one of the options from the other page, that's fine. You do not have to choose those as an option. That is just a suggestion page for if you get stuck, if you haven't been able to come up with something since we've been stuck in the house for a while. Here are the things that you need to include in your personal narrative writing. You need to make sure you let the reader know who the characters are in the story. And when you get to the publishing page, please remember to draw and include them in the story. Label them. For number 2, make sure you include during your drafting period when and where did your story take place. That's the setting. And what I mean by that is, was it a hot and humid day? Was it a cold and rainy day? Was it a night? Was it in the spring? Was it in the fall? Make sure you include those details. What was the problem in your story? Include the details to explain what happened and share those details bit by bit. Number 4, how was the problem solved? Make sure that your conclusion matches up with the beginning so that if your story is about roller skating, at the end of the story, you're not talking about going to the beach because you said your story was about roller skating. That way, you'll make sure that your story is on topic, which is number 5. Sometimes we get a little off topic. Number 6, try to bring your characters to life with dialogue, like your characters are talking or speaking, and movement. Instead of just telling what your characters are doing or feeling, show what your characters are doing and feeling. Number 7, did you spell the words correctly? Now, this is after you have written it. Now, the first pages that are laid out in this packet are for your creativity. Do not focus on the spelling. I'm not saying just go willy-nilly and misspell words, but I want you to do what we do in class, which is just write your story. On Thursday, you can come back Wednesday or Thursday after you finish writing your entire story and check the spelling to make sure you spelled the words correctly. Check to see if you put punctuation in correctly, which is number 8. Check to make sure that each sentence has a capital letter, which is also part of number 8. And then on Thursday, you're going to reread your story out loud to somebody or just to yourself and see if your story sounds right. Does it make sense? Did you include all the important parts? Sometimes it helps when you read it to another person because they can say, you know what, wait, how did you get from this part to this part? Maybe you're missing words and you don't realize it because you are reading it so fast, and they can let you know that. They can also let you know if your story does not make sense. And then finally, number 10, for Friday, unless you finish early by Thursday, you should be publishing it. You're going to write your story, the one that you planned out all week, because you're only writing one story this week. Write your one story with words spelled correctly, with punctuation in the proper places, with capital letters in the proper places, with all those important details in your story. Okay? As I said, I included a page for if you just cannot come up with a story to write about. This is a writing prompt page to help you get your wheels turning, get your brain going, because I know I have a few friends who struggle with coming up with ideas. So this is an idea page. It is not necessary that you follow it. It is just there for extra help. Okay? So now we are going to work on the beginning page. And I actually wrote this earlier, but I had some camera issues, so I'm going over it again. I would have preferred to do it live, but I am going to share it with you now. When you finish writing your story, you're going to use the bottom of this page to check and make sure that you've included everything. Check and make sure that you've told us who the characters are. Check and make sure you told us what the setting is, what the problem in the story is, because you're not writing the entire story on this page. There are a lot of lines on this page, but you should not have the whole story on this one page. This is just the beginning of the story. Then when you get to Wednesday, when you go back to reread your story, you're going to check to see, did you include punctuation in the right places? Did you spell all your words correctly? Did each of your words or each of your sentences start with a capital letter? Not each of your words, each word that started the sentence, or proper nouns, did they start with a capital letter? Okay, so let's get to the the story sharing part, the beginning of my story. And you can use your checklist to see if I included all the things so far. Okay. In October 2012, we had just moved into our new apartment. Jada missed her friends. She was very lonely. She kept asking me if we could get a cat. I really wanted to say yes. So far, I've told you when my story happened, October 2012. I've told you where. We are in our new apartment, and you know some of the characters are Jaden, and then I'm in the story also. I'm the one telling the story. And I'm starting to reveal what my problem was. So she kept asking me if we could get a cat, and I really wanted to say yes. But we were not allowed to have cats in this apartment. I told Jaden we would go to the pet store and look at small animals that fit in cages. She was thrilled. Okay? So the problem that I have so far in the story is that my daughter wants a pet, but we're not allowed to have one at this apartment. Okay? And then I'm giving more details. The next day, we woke up bright and early, had breakfast, and got dressed. We headed out the door to PetSmart. We had no idea what pet we would choose. I was nervous. This is a telling sentence. I'm telling you, but I'm not telling you, I'm not showing you what I felt. So I'm going to show you in the next couple of sentences what I mean about telling versus feeling. I was nervous. My stomach felt bubbly inside. My hands were clammy. I knew this day would be important for years to come. Having a pet is a big responsibility. Okay? And so now I'm going to check to see if I included all the things that you were supposed to include for the beginning. Did I tell who the characters were? Yes. So I can circle it. Did I tell what the setting was? Yes. October 2012 in my new apartment. And then finally further on it goes, we're headed to PetSmart. So yes, I included the setting. Did I tell what the problem was in the story? Do you remember what the problem was? That's right. Jaden wanted a pet, but we couldn't have one in this apartment. And then, like I said, on Wednesday, you'll come back and you'll look to see, did you include punctuation? Were your words spelled correctly? Did you include capital letters? And this is our lesson for today. This is the only thing you have to do for the first day. Now, if you feel like you've got this story churning and bubbling in your head, you can keep going on to the next page and add the middle. Before you do the middle, though, I want you to make sure that if you're missing any parts for the beginning, go back, reread your story, add in the parts to your story so that it makes sense. See what you're missing so that your story makes sense as you proceed. Okay? Tomorrow we'll work on the middle.